So today we're going to be going over 7 confident smelling fragrances that command authority. These are not for the fly under the radar guys. These are more for the dudes out there who want to stand out and you want to make a statement with their fragrance. And you'll find the deeper into the hobby you go, the more you discover all of these different sides and all of these different uses that you can use to your advantage when choosing a scent that you would like to wear. So whether it be you're trying to give yourself that confidence boost, maybe you're a bit down in the dumps, one day when you wake up you're just not feeling it, you want a little boost, or maybe you're starting a new job, maybe you're just gonna find yourself in an environment where you want to be taken seriously. These 7 fragrances here all have a nice, masculine, powerful smell to them. None of these are going to be of the sweeter, youthful variety, which I really wouldn't equate to having like a super confident smell to them. These typically revolve around woods and some other heavier notes to really give off a masculine approach. So again, 7 fragrances to go through, a nice little mixture here. There's gonna be something for everyone in this list, and we've narrowed it down to 7. I will link them all down below if you just wanna not listen to me talk and just grab them, you can do that. Or if you're just interested in picking them up and listening to me talk, because who doesn't want to do that? Actually, a lot of people don't, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get it. So this first one here, we have Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense by Givenchy, and I'll run through this quick. This one has iris, basil, cardamom as a few of the main notes, some other woods, that sort of thing. It's a slightly woody, herbal, creamy type of scent, but not sweet. So it's kind of more on the trend of being a fresh, woody, masculine scent. I think one of the main reasons why this one is doing so well is it has ultimate versatility. I mean, this thing can be worn for anything. For someone who doesn't want to build up a ginormous collection of fragrances, you just want to have a couple things to wear throughout the year, something like Gentleman EDT Intense is a really nice option. And to that point, it's also a fragrance that is masculine. It is confident. This smells like a well-groomed, well-dressed guy, and that's kind of what we're going for here. One little side note is this does not smell like the original Givenchy Gentleman from 1974, and it also doesn't smell like the newer Givenchy Gentleman. The year is escaping me, but I'll show you what the bottle looks like. This one right here, the Refresh Gentleman. This doesn't smell like either of those or anything else in the entire Gentleman lineup, so I just wanted to clarify that. It would be easy to think that, given that it's called Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense. You may think it's a stronger version of the EDT, but it's not. Completely different, so I just wanted to get that out there. Next up, everyone's favorite, Bentley For Men. Not Intense, actually. So I know you were expecting Bentley For Men Intense, but really for me, I find a lot of enjoyment out of the original here. A lot. I really, really, really like this a lot. Smells absolutely incredible. And so here's the deal with this one. If you are of the crowd that maybe thinks that Bentley For Men Intense is a bit too old, a bit too mature and dated, then maybe consider checking out this one, because the original is not nearly as smoky and maybe old smelling as the Intense. The Intense does use a lot of that incense. Some people say it smells churchy, and I can understand where that's coming from. I love the fragrance, but I know it's not for everyone. With this video, I narrowed it down to 7 choices. I wanted to have a nice little mix here, and I think this one does a good job of taking the place of Bentley For Men Intense if that's just too strong for you in terms of its smoky delivery. This one has rum, cinnamon, leather, and cedarwood as a few of the main notes, so you still get that booziness. You still get a whole bunch of woods in here, a little bit of a spiciness, but not a whole bunch of smokiness like the Intense version. I think this one is much easier to get along with. I think it's overall going to be more versatile, maybe a better compliment getter, and it is definitely a head-turning, confident, commanding fragrance. And did I mention it's not a whole lot of money either? $30, $40 range, that's a steal. Next up, we have Michael Kors Extreme Rush. Really cool bottles here. They have a few that are in this line, the Extreme line. I have just 2 of them, this one and Extreme Sky. I got Extreme Sky first when it first came out-ish. I picked it up around summertime of maybe last year or the year before, somewhere around in there. I did some videos on it. I really like that one a lot. That one's going to be more fresh and more bright. This one has a freshness, but again, it's primarily focused around woods, which is what I was after. Blood orange, sage, and oak moss are just a couple of the notes. The oak moss is giving off a very woody, masculine approach. The blood orange does lighten it up a little bit for you in the opening, so it doesn't start off too heavy and too strong. The sage giving off a bit of an herbaceousness. It all comes together really well. It's worth noting atomizers are really nice on these bottles. Nice distribution, nice pressure. They just work well. The caps are nice too. Definitely don't pick them up by the cap. It's a very rather loose press fit, but I do like the presentation, and that smells great. That blood orange up top really opens this one up with, you know, a nice brightness, a nice balance to all of the woods. And as it sits on your skin, that blood orange does dissipate and more of the woods, the oak moss and the sage does come through, lending to just a nice masculine, strong, powerful fragrance in terms of its approach. This one is an eau de toilette spray. It's not a beast mode performer like some of the others, like the Bentley, for example. That's a very strong scent, even the original. This one is still going to get you by. It's still going to get you through a day, but we're not really looking for beast mode performance here in this video. I've done a lot of videos on that here recently. When I talk about something that smells powerful and strong, I'm simply talking about the smell and just kind of the feeling that it puts off. This one is around the $60 range, I believe, on discounters. Not bad. I think the quality is really good. Overall, I think it's a very acceptable fragrance for the price. Next up, a relatively new release. This one is Match Point Eau de Parfum by Lacoste. It's got citrus, pink pepper, and vetiver as a few of the main notes. There's musk in here as well. So if you've smelled the original Match Point, you'll be familiar with this one out of the gate. Now, there are some differences, mainly being performance, which we'll touch on in a second, and also the delivery and the smell, like I've been referencing here. This one has a bit more spiciness up top. It has a bit more woody and musky depth, making it, I think, a bit more masculine, maybe a tiny bit more rugged than the original. Now, it's still a green, clean fragrance. It's very wearable, and probably out of most all of the fragrances in this video, this one will be on the more mild end of the spectrum. So if you want to smell confident and have, you know, kind of a commanding attention about yourself, but you don't want to go too extreme, like to the Bentley, for example, maybe that's going to be a bit too much for you. This one's going to be on the lower end, but still get the same thing done. Personally, I like this one and prefer it over the Eau de Toilette because of that performance, which on my skin is pretty consistently around the 8-9 hour mark. That's very solid for a fragrance in this category. Projection is a little bit closer to the skin, but it will push in the heat, and it does leave a nice trail. One thing I have to point out, I just can't help myself. I did it in my first impressions too. My sticker is off center. I don't know if it really shows up that well on here, but it's to the right and down. So yeah, I'm sure you were dying for me to point that out to you. There you go. You can't unsee it now. Next up, we have the one and only niche fragrance in this video, one that I really enjoy. I've had around in my collection for a good while now, and I'll tell you why I picked it up if you can't figure it out on your own. It's Nishane Hacivat. Pineapple, oak moss, and cedar wood are some of the main notes. A whole heap of woods in here, and a pineapple accord. Let's go ahead and spray this one. It's going to be very strong. It's been a while since I've sprayed it. This room is going to smell like Hacivat for days, so I'm going to need to air it out, and that's no joke either. This is potent, strong stuff. It's an extrait de parfum. It's very high quality, very smooth, and you guessed it, as soon as you heard pineapple, it doesn't take someone that's a fragrance expert to figure this out. It gets compared to Creed Aventus. So this is something that I've said ad nauseum at this point, so if you're new to the channel, this may be new to you, but if you've been around for a couple years, you're probably gonna be like, oh, here we go again. But I'm gonna say it, I have to. This is what I would imagine Creed Aventus extrait to smell like. So if Creed Aventus came out with a parfum concentration, the original's an EDP, I would expect it to smell something like this. That's really all you need to know. Basically what that means to me is that this is a much more rich, woody, and strong version of Aventus. And it's funny because Aventus went in the opposite direction and went with Aventus Cologne, which is, you know, a great fragrance, but lighter than the original. I want to see something darker like this, but we probably aren't going to get that. And so that's where Hacivat comes in, very pineapple heavy, very juicy, and then a whole bunch of woods to follow. This is potent, strong, no joke, can be a weapon. I'm not talking about the bottle either. I mean, I guess it could be. It's got a heavy cap. tap like a Parfums de Marly, but not quite to that extent. But I mean, the scent itself could be a weapon. It is strong stuff. I've had to scrub it off before because my girlfriend was just getting tired of it. She loves how it smells in moderation, and I guess I went overboard. So yeah, no joke stuff here, but it is very confident, very demanding, very powerful, just something that will definitely turn all the heads. Second to last fragrance, we have Ferragamo Acqua Essenziale Colonia. So this is another one of the more affordable variety here, coming in typically around, I want to say, mid $30 price range, somewhere around in there. It's one that I have a lot of respect for because of that price point. You know, this doesn't smell like maybe a cheapie, you know, and I would say that's pretty close to the price point of this one, around in that $30 range. And I think you can get it for a bit less if you get a tester with no cap. The point is, it's very good for the price. Watery notes, clary, sage, and lavender, and ambroxan are a few of the main notes. Had to sneak that in there at the end there, but it's not a blue fragrance, so you know, don't think that it is. They have their take on a blue fragrance, Acqua Essenziale Blue. If you're after that, there you go. But this is not that. This is more aromatic fougere barbershop style. Now, I'll attempt to spray it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to smell it too well over the Hacivat. There's going to be a muddle of stuff going on. I'm not lying to you guys about the Hacivat, by the way. It is so strong. It'll be in here for a long time. But I can get a good idea. It has a really nice opening. The quality of this one is well above a lot of other fragrances in this price range. I was going to say all other fragrances in this price range. That's not going to be accurate. There's probably things out there that are in this price range that I haven't smelled that may be better quality, but it's really, really high up there. It's mature, it's refined, it's sexy, it's a really nice smell. It's kind of watery, but not like an aquatic fragrance. It's just kind of fresh. It's kind of how this one fits in. This one's an eau de toilette. It has a nice gentleman smell to it. It has gentleman delivery, and what I mean, it's not a super loud and obnoxious fragrance. It's one that'll keep to itself a bit more, but it will leave a nice trail behind you, and it will get you noticed in a good way. Last up for this video, we have Gucci Guilty Absolute. So this one has leather and vetiver and woody notes and cypress. So basically woods and leather. That's really all this one is about. That's the note breakdown. That's what you need to know here. It is a leathery, woody, kind of semi-spicy from the leather and woods, strong fragrance. Very masculine, not for the faint of heart. So not only is this one very confident and strong in terms of its smell, but it is also that in terms of its performance. This here is a beast mode fragrance. Now that's not why I selected it to be in this video. Performance was not something that I was prioritizing, you know, at least beast mode fragrances, but this one checks off all the boxes. Again, I have to reiterate, not for everybody, okay? Just because it's beast mode and everyone loves beast mode doesn't mean you're gonna like how it smells. There's a lot of people that really don't care for how it smells. Kind of more of a fragrance enthusiast thing. You know, I think if I were to smell this when I first started collecting, I would have been maybe a bit repulsed by it. Maybe not repulsed, but I probably wouldn't have liked it. Now, this is what I'm after. So if you come from the world of sweet Invictus bubblegummy fragrances, ease into this one. I would encourage you to not blind buy it. I would say to sample it if you can, or at least wait a while until your palate, your taste, your nose develops to the point where you would maybe feel more comfortable with a blind buy, because this is also not really that cheap either. But I'll tell you what, man, this is one of the best fits for this video. So masculine, so strong, so leathery. It's going to be sexy. The right girl, the right guy is going to love how it smells on you. It's a really nice fragrance that commands a whole bunch of respect. If you can pull this one off, people are going to, they're going to give you that respect for sure. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. That is 7 commanding and confident smelling fragrances that are just going to set you apart and have you smelling amazing. Let me know down below, which ones did I miss? Which ones would you have put in here instead? And remember, I will link all these down below so you can check them out and pick them up. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.